Hello and welcome everyone to our August customer training. This month it is all about the qualifications and training database in SalamanderLive. If you've worked in this database before, you know it comes preloaded with over 700 qualifications from national standards as well as from those other qualification bodies. Now, as an administrator, you know that you'll have the ability to manage this list. So we'll talk a little bit more about access points in the next couple slides here. But during the training, if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask, or you can send it over the chat function as well. So here's just a quick look at the areas in which we'll be covering today. We're going to first take a look at how to access your qualifications and training database. We'll take a look at how to organize your qualifications into folders for easy access on the record side, how to add new qualifications. We'll also take a look at the qualification verification workflow, which includes setting up prerequisites for qualifications, setting up special criteria, as well as the details, and then having the system complete verification checks when you're assigning the qualification to a record. And then last, we'll take a look at how to add those qualifications to someone's record. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about access. So the qualifications and training database is going to be only available at the account holder level, and it is restricted to just these roles right here. So you've got administrator, administrator no security, and a resource qual management. So if you're set as an administrator for a child organization, you're not going to have access to manage the qualifications list. So let's take a look at this on a hierarchy perspective, so just so that everybody understands. So when we're looking at the account holder, it's the parent organization. You can call it the purchasing organization, whatever you want to call it. It's the organization at the very top. So you have to be set up as one of those three roles: administrator, administrator no security, or qual management role, okay, at the account holder level. If you're set as any of those roles, as any of these child organizations, you're not going to have access to this qualifications and training database. As you know, in the system, when you're setting up security users, you have the ability to set up multiple roles and assign those multiple roles to a single person. So they could be administrator, let's say at region 1 over here. Let's say that we're looking at a state type implementation, and they may give you access to just specifically qualifications in the training database at the state level, okay? So just a couple of things that they can do there to kind of give you access to manage your qualifications and training for your organization or for your county or for your, and as well as for other child organizations underneath you. Okay, so I'm gonna just pull up SalamanderLive here. So if you have the access, you should see a qualifications and training database. So you should see this listed here. If you do not see that, that means that you don't have the correct access, okay? So you won't even see this if you don't have access. So if you see that, just click on that, and that's where you can go in and manage all of your qualifications and training. So actually, in this case, I'm in one of my accounts, and this account here specifically has our older qual set for our Tier 1. As you know, last year we released a new Tier 1 qualification set. So if you have that, you should see that qualification set when you're under your personnel records over here. But what I'm talking about is this right here. Everything's kind of organized into the ESFs. So all the different ESFs here, 1 through 15, as you can see on here. And you'll see in here that we also still have the legacy folders that were created. So if you're still on the legacy tier set, you should still see these 4 folders in here. Reason why you see both is because of that. It's just kind of a database that holds all the legacy as well as all the new. So federal and national, just as you know here, this is the Tier 1, so these are all different tiers, Tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Tier 1 is controlled by Salamander, so this is one that you are not able to add qualifications to. You aren't able to add any folders or manage your actual tree. So this here's your tree. You'll see at the very top here, there's 2 different tabs. This is qualifications and training. So we've split the qualifications into 2 different groups, one for your actual qualifications, and one that's related to education. So anything that that's related to education-wise will be listed over here. So any of your ICS type training, certifications, things like that will be listed over here. And then at the top right, you'll see there's a chart view, and then there's the list view. So if you want to go in and look at your entire qualifications database in a list, this is where you would click on that. Okay. So we're just going to focus here on the managed qualifications side real quick here, and we can kind of flip-flop between the two if you want to take a look at the training side. So you'll see that you've got your state, regional, local, and other folders. So these, if you have a brand new account, these will obviously be blank. There will be nothing in there. The only thing that you'll ever get access to when you first start out with a brand new account is just your Tier 1. Again, that's controlled by Salamander. We are the ones that work with, there's an individual over at FEMA Region 8 that we work with to gather all these qualifications and organize it so that it's easier for you guys to go in and select those. But on a state, regional, local, and other, these folders are the ones that you can control as long as you have access. So if you've got specific state type or qualifications and trainings, this is where you would enter those in. Same thing if there's regional type, local, city type qualifications, and if they don't fall into any of these categories, you can basically create a folder under this other. What I see a lot of people do is create like a favorites type under this other. So you see in my training database, I already have a couple different folders that were created in here during past trainings. But you can see in here, you can basically go in here and create specific folders. These folders are going to help you and your people that are managing records on the people and equipment side, for them to be able to see these folders and quickly add qualifications and assign qualifications to those records. So that's what you're doing, is you're trying to make your job, and as well as those jobs, the jobs of those that are managing those records, make it easier for them to look for and assign qualifications. So here we've got a couple different folders that's been created in here. Again, these are state type qualifications. If you want to put these in, you want to order them by industry, or if you want to order them by state, especially if you are, your county is maybe on the border and you have responders that are kind of, cross state, you can do that. You can add those state type qualifications in there if need be. Okay, so really what you're doing in here is creating a folder. So that's the first step that you have to do, is create a folder, because this would technically be blank in here. So you create a folder, name it whatever you want. If you want to name it an industry, a specific department, whatever it is that you want in here. So we've got a couple of them in here. I don't even know what we have in here. Let me see. We have EMA, fire, hazmat, sheriffs. Let me just create one for EMS. So this is going to be an EMS folder. Let's say in this folder is going to be where all medical service type qualifications are going to go in. Those are that are recognized by the state. Okay. So you'll see when you add the folder, it automatically adds it to the bottom of the list. Now, if you refresh this page, it will alphabetize it. So if I go into my state folder, you'll see it alphabetizes it there. Okay, but by default, it when you add it, just adds it all the way down to the list. If you're like, oh wait, what happened to my list, or what happened to my folder? If yours is like mine, you have to scroll all the way down. So you see there's two separate scrollers here, and just find it at the bottom. Okay. So you can go in there, and then you can create all different folders if you want to. Once you have a folder created, you'll see that you'll be able to right-click, and you have some options in there. So you have the option to create a brand new qualification. You have the ability to edit that folder. You have the ability to delete that folder. You can create a subfolder in there if you wanted to, or you can move it to top. Move to top basically means that, let's say, for example, under here I've got, let me see, that's probably not a good one. Here, other qualifications. You see that? There's an other qualification that was created on here. So if I wanted to move this to top, basically what this does is it changes this from a subfolder into a main folder. So if I right-click on this and move to top, it's going to move it out of the Alabama test folder and create it in here. Now, if I wanted to move it back, I can drag and drop it back in here. You'll see it turns orange. That means that it's the active folder, and it's going to go back in there. You see that? So you can do that with all your qualifications as well. You can drag and drop and move them where you need them to go. Okay. So for example, firearms, if I want to drag it in here, I can drag it in there. See that? So let's go back to this EMS folder. So in here, if I right click, I can go in and put a new qualification if I wanted to. In here, basically, it's up to you and your agency, your organization, and on how you want to create those qualifications. You have to put in a code. So this is a code for the qualification. This is what gets printed on the back of the Salamander credentials, and it's what's encoded into that barcode. Okay. So the code, you want to keep this nice and short, but something that's recognizable by your people. Description, so again, a short description about the qualification, so the name of the qualification, and then the kind on here. Okay, so the kind on here, what type is it? Is it a personnel type qualification? Is it a team? Is it a vehicle? What is it? Okay. Save your options on there. Once you click save, I'm just going to do a test one on here. So let's see, this is test qualification. You can see, and this is a personnel. If you want to put a NIMS type, feel free to do so, not required, and then click save, and there's your test qualification. And then what you put for your code is what appears in the parentheses. Okay. So that's one way you can add in qualifications. So if you add qualifications here, they're also immediately added to your list. So your main qualifications list over here. Okay. Now, other things that you can do on here, you can basically select a folder and then do a quick add. So you see in here, select a folder to do a quick add. So if I select this folder, you're going to see that this field populates. This is basically pulling from my qualifications database. So if I went in this qualifications database, add a whole bunch of qualifications, and then I want to kind of organize and add them to the folders, you can do it that way as well. Okay, so in here, simply just click on what you're wanting. So if I just put in here emergency, if I just start typing, you see in here emergency, see medical. If you want to be specific, you have to type in specifically what you're looking for. Okay, so if I just type in this, you'll see there's a whole bunch that pops up on here. So medical, emergency medical responder. You see that these ones right here, NQS and REMT, these are all already a part of the Federal National Tier folder. That's what it's telling you right there, because those are the National Qualification System, the different bodies that's qualified these qualifications. Okay, these ones here, you know that these were just created by someone in the system. So I can just simply click on this. When I click on it, it adds it to that folder. You see how easy that is. So doing the quick add, you just have to know specifically what you're looking for to kind of narrow down your list, because it will pull up a gigantic list. Like for example, if I do fire, it's a long list. So you want to be very specific on what you're looking for if you're doing the quick add function. Okay. So you can do this process, the creation of folders, the creation of qualifications for every single one of your tiers, for state, regional, local, and other. Okay. As you start creating these folders and start adding these qualifications in, they will be available for your people to select on the personnel record side, as well as on the equipment side. Okay. So these are not just personnel type qualifications, but these could be equipment qualifications as well too. I don't know a lot of people and a lot of agencies that use the equipment qualifications, but it is there. You are able to do so. Most times if you look at the name of the equipment, you'll already know what the specifications are, but you do have the option if you wanted to add those specifications as a qualification, so it just really helps figure out the specs on that if you need it to, or if that piece of equipment needs to be deployed for a specific event. Okay. Now on the training side, you'll see on the training side, it's the same thing. This is going to be specifically for training type qualifications. So you see in there, there's a couple already that's added in here. So again, this is EMT basic level training. Again, these were either created or added through the quick add function. Okay. So again, just right click and then do what you need to do on there. Add a folder in here if you wanted to. Okay. So if you want to do it by EMT, but then you want to do it by state in here, feel free to do so. I'm in Minnesota, so I can do Minnesota in here, create a folder specifically for Minnesota. I can create a folder specifically for Wisconsin, because we're actually right on the border, being in Minneapolis. Okay, and then you can, do your specific qualifications for those. Whatever way that you want to organize this, it's really up to you, as long as it makes sense for you and everybody else that's managing this. Okay. So any questions so far on how to go in here, create folders, how to move qualifications by dragging, dropping, making a subfolder into a main folder? Any questions on that? Okay, no questions? All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at let me just go back to qualifications here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the list side. Okay. So on the list side, and I have mine locked on here, I'll show you how to do this here. So on here, you'll see you still have your two options to toggle between training or qualifications. So this here is going to list all of your qualifications. So even the ones that are controlled by Salamander, as well as those that you have added into the system. So your numbers down here are going to be different than mine. So in my system, I've got about 2,600 qualifications that I can select from and add to and edit. Okay. So over here, you'll see the description, code, kind, NIMS type, organization, and I also added this locked feature. So how do you manage this here? So as you know, the ones that you can edit are the ones that are unlocked, okay? So simply go ahead at the very top right, you should see this edit columns icon. If you click on that, you're able to add that locked column in. So technically it would be over here. So all you have to do is add it, and it adds it to the bottom. If you want to rearrange your list, feel free to rearrange it. Just drag and drop it, move it where you need it to go. Okay. If you want to put specific state in there, account name, there's all this other information if you want to. I'm just going to keep it as this here. And go ahead and click done. Okay. So how do you know if it's a record that you can edit? Well, if it says true, that means it's controlled by Salamander. So how do you know? If you click on it, it's going to just give you the detail. You can print this off if you need to, but that's really about it that you can do on here. But if you change this from equals to false, meaning it's unlocked, apply it, these are ones that you can go in and edit. So these are ones that were either created by you, someone else within your organization that also has access to this. These could also be ones that were pulled through from our legacy softwares when you get a brand new account as well. So you'll see in here the organization that created it, so you'll see exactly who created what. If there's multiple organizations within your account and you want to filter even more, you can do so by just clicking on the organization you want to include in children, add in the name of the organization, and then filter it that way as well. Okay. So any one of these, like for example, if I click on this SalamanderLive training, I go ahead and click on that. This is how you know you can edit that, because you're going to see this general profile that's going to pop up where you can go in and edit the qualification code, the description, the kind, and NIMS type. So you can click on the pencil icon right here, and then this will allow you to go in and change this information. Okay. So if I want to put this to like Sal train. Okay, and then click save, and that's going to change that coding. Now, if you also have and are subscribed to our up-to-date packages or SalamanderLive packages, you will also get the qualification verification feature. So what the qualification verification feature is that it allows you to go in and create prerequisites for your qualifications. So this is what you see at the bottom here. So if you have access, you would be able to see this. So prerequisites basically just means that you can go in and assign specific qualifications or trainings that have to be completed first before someone can assign this qualification to a person's record. Okay, so that's just taking it to the next step, right? Just versus just assigning qualification. Now this is, are we sure that this person has met all the requirements? have they completed all the training, all the education in order to get qualified for this particular thing. So again, that's really up to you if you want to go down that deep. But it's here for you if you choose to do so. I know some agencies are using this for, like, for example, for deployment. So if for specific deployment, to say this person has to have all these qualifications before they can be marked as deployable. Okay, so that's how they can go in here. They can create a qualification called deployable, and then they can go in and add the prerequisites in here. So prerequisites, it's going to pull up all training and qualifications in here. So again, you can toggle between the two. So if there's specific qualifications that that person has to meet in order to make them deployable, this is where you can go and add them. So again, this is pulling from your chart. So remember, before we had that chart view that shows all your tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you see in here, you should see all those different folders. Again, creating those folders and that on the chart side helps you in adding and assigning prerequisites as well. Okay, so you can do it from the tier 1, you can do it from the tier 2, totally up to you and how you want to do this. So if I want to put in here, hey, they have to, have this test qualification on here. Okay, you see someone put in here firefighter 1. They have to have this test qualification in here. Let's say on the emergency management side, let me see what else is in here. I had the other one here. This is also a test. I'm just going to add these ones in here, okay? So these qualifications, you're adding these qualifications in. Let's say we also added these training qualifications, okay? So let's say there's a bunch of train qualifications. They have to complete all the ICS training, so basic and advanced, okay? They also have to be CPR certified in order to add this qualification. So you see they're adding all these qualifications in here. Now, if you can't find the qualification in your list here, you can go in here and you can do a quick add. So again, you can toggle between qualifications and training, and then you can add it from there. So if it's ICS based, you can go on here, you can click on that. You'll see there's some duplicates in here. It just depends. Someone probably created a duplicate record in here for the advanced ICS. Same thing for basic ICS. Okay. So you can go in here, you can click on the ones that they also need to complete. If you're like, no, these aren't ones I need, I can go in and I can click on those to remove those. Okay, see that? So that's the prerequisites. Okay, so prerequisites in here. Once I have the prerequisites in, again, if you want to expand it or you can collapse it, there's also special criteria. So prerequisites are what's required. They have to have those qualifications or trainings assigned to them in order for them to assign this qualification. Special criteria is going to be more of a consideration. So this could be like, continuous education, things like that you want to kind of consider, have the people consider before they add this qualification there. Okay, so if you wanted them to have like 5 years of experience or 2 years of schooling or specific or other specific type courses that might help them, you can add those in here. Again, this is just really open text. You can type whatever you want in here. Okay. And then detailed description. This is just a detailed description of this qualification. So it just really helps you out, as well as anyone that's looking on what this qualification is all about. So if it was that deployment type qualification, you can say, why this qualification was created, why this deployment qualification is created, why it's needed, etc. You can put whatever you want in here. Okay. Again, open text in here, and then click Save. So you can do this for all your qualifications. You can do this for training if you wanted to go down, deep in that rabbit hole. Feel free to do so. Okay. But I see most agencies, organizations mostly do this on the qualifications side and not much on the training side. Okay. Any questions so far on this side here? Okay. No questions? Okay. On top of this, you should see that there's also a plus button right here. So since we're on the qualification side, so this is the other way to create a brand new qualification. So you can click this plus button. It just adds it to your qualification list. So again, this is what I talked about earlier. If you want to go in and add all your qualifications first in here and then go back to the tree to add them in, feel free to do so. Okay. So if you wanted to create one called, let's say, deployable. Oops. Okay. There. Qualifications created. You can go in there, add your prerequisites, what's required for them to be deployable. Go in here, add your prerequisites again, your trainings, your qualifications, whatever it is that you're looking at adding. Okay. And then any specific special criteria and details. You can go in and add. Okay. So just going in and adding a couple of them. So we'll see here. Okay, nice and quick and simple. Okay, so other ways that you can do it. And then if you go back to your actual chart, let's say you have another one in here and you want to add that qualification, feel free to do so. You can create one in here called deployable if you wanted to. Okay. So it's at the bottom there. Okay. Click the folder. And there it is. You have deployable in there. And now that qualification's been added into the other folder. Okay. So again, just a couple different ways in which you can do this and manage your folders and everything. Okay. All right. So now that you've gone in, organized and created your folders, added all your qualifications in, and you're happy with everything, let's go on to the people side. Okay. So I'm going to have two separate accounts in here, especially for those that may still be on the old tier, tier 1 versus the new tier 1. Okay, so let me just clear my filter on here. Let me just go into someone's record on here. Let's just go to Kelly Anders. So Kelly Anders, we go to the bottom, you'll see the qualifications and training. So this right here, if you look at tier 1, you'll know that this is the old tier 1 set. Okay, I'll pull up the new tier 1 set so you can see what this looks like. Okay. Let me just log in here real quick. So you can see what the new one looks like. So here's the new one. If you click on tier 1, give a second for it to load. This is what it would look like. So you don't have any of those other folders in there. You just have the ESFs plus vaccines. Okay. So everything just nicely organized by the qualification body. So you have the NQS for, and then FCC, and then the CISA ECD for communications, and so on and so forth. So if you're interested in getting the new tier 1 set, just have your SalamanderLive account administrator contact us. So just have them email support@salamanderlive.com and then request for your account to be switched over to the new tier 1 set. It takes a couple days for us to do so to get you switched over. Okay. You can also call us if you want to. If you don't want to email at us, feel free to call us at our 1-800 number, so the 877-430-5171. I'll provide those numbers at the end for you so you can jot those down if need be. But those two ways are the two ways that you can get switched over if you want to. Okay. So let's just take a look at the tier 2 and then the other folder where we added those qualifications. So you see in here we created that EMS folder. There it is. And then there's those two qualifications that we added. So if you have qualification verification, this is what's going to happen. So if you click on this, this one says, hey, it's been verified. Okay, verified. It goes through, it checks everything, and it says we're good to go. You can assign it. Now this one right here, test qualification, we actually added, I thought we added this one, maybe we didn't. Oh, it was actual Sal training. Hold on here. Sal train. Find it. It's one of these ones here. Training. Oh, wrong account. Hold on here. Wrong account, wrong account. That's why. Let me go into the correct account on here. Commander training. Sal train. Oh. Not finding it. I must have named it something else on here. I forgot what I named it as, but we'll add the other one in here so you can see what that one, the deployable one, so you can see what that looks like. So if I add this on here, this is what you're going to get. So verifying qualification. Qualification cannot be assigned. Record is missing prerequisites. So it tells you right here that these are the prerequisites that they have to either provide proof that they've completed, they've been certified to do in order for you to add those qualifications in. So maybe they already completed these prerequisites, but they just weren't added to the record. So if that's the case, then all you have to do is add these qualifications in here, the USAR, then RSD into this, and then once you try to assign this again, it will allow you to do so. Okay? So let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation here. Let me just show you the three different results that you may get. Okay, so if you have qualification verification turned on, each time that you try to sign qualification, you're either going to get a verified, you're going to get this yellow one, meaning that there's special criteria, or that they're missing prerequisites. Okay, so red, green, yellow. Now for the qualification verification on here for the yellow one, this is going to always pop up. No matter if they completed all the prerequisites, if there is a special criteria added to a qualification, you will always see this yellow warning every single time. Okay? It just tells you that there's additional training that you have to to be, considering, as well as experience, physical, license, things like that you have to consider before you add in that qualification. There will be an assign button. I know it doesn't say it, it doesn't show up on here, but there is an assign button where you can assign it for the yellow. For red, you'll never see the assign button until they've met all the qualifications here where they all click green. Okay? You won't even see it all click green on here. The moment they have all the qualifications, you would see this verified right here, that they verified, they've met all the prerequisites, and you're able to assign. Okay? So on here, let me just show you guys this. Let me just take a screenshot of this so I have what those qualifications are called so I don't forget. Okay? So all you need to do on here is you can add those qualifications. Let's see if I can find them. There it is. There's the first one. And then this one's verified. I can add that one. RSD. Ooh, there's two of them. It's definitely not this one. So you see here, this is all that's missing on here. Maybe it's the next one. No, it's the same one. So if I go in this one here, it's saying, hey, this one also has a whole bunch of qualifications on here that's required. So I have to go in and add all these qualifications first in order to add that RSD, the rescue spec deployable one. Okay? And then I can go in and add the deployable qualifications. You see how there's many levels and tiers in here when you're adding prerequisites. So you kind of have to figure this all out before you start adding it all into the system so you don't put yourself into a big hole, okay? Because then it can make your people just very frustrated if they don't understand your hierarchy for your qualifications. Okay. So any questions on this here? Any questions? No questions? All right. Well, on the people side, let me just show you this real quick. If you want a snapshot real quick of what your people have, you could add the qualifications column into your field. So again, just click your edit columns, go in, add your qualifications in there. You should see it under qualifications on the Q side. Add it, and this will basically list all the qualifications your people have. So that's one way to kind of view qualifications at a glance. The other ones that we have in here are reports. So there's actually 3 different reports you can view on here for qualifications. This is going to list everybody's qualifications. I'll just pull up these PDF documents so you can see what they look like. So this will really help if you're looking for people that have specific qualifications for deployment. So this will list it by the qualification. It'll tell you exactly who has what. Okay. The other one is qualifications by NIMS type. So on here, if you have put qualifications there and you categorize it by NIMS type, this is how you can do it. You can click on what is type 1, type 2, type 3, type qualifications, etc. and run the report. The last one on here is people qualification by expiration date. So there's 2 areas you're going to see this. You're going to see that by expiration date, but this is going to be for all expiration dates. There's one on the home dashboard, which is going to be a little bit different. Let me just pull this up for you here. So qualification expiration date, if you do it from a date range, let me just do it from, I don't know what we have in the system, so let's do it from April to now, so 4 months. Should pull up a report and you'll be able to see that information. And there's 2 of them. Okay, so Adam always has one. Climber expiration has been expired already, and this one has been expired for a couple of months. This kind of helps you manage your qualifications, kind of see who has qualifications that are coming soon versus those that are just within the 30 days. Okay. So how do you set expirations for qualifications? That's all done within the qualifications and trainings database for the person. So down here, if you go in here, and I forgot to show you guys this, I apologize, is when you assign the qualification on here, you'll see in here that if you click the little plus, it allows you to go in and enter that information in. So their certification number, the issue, and expiration date, that's what you can see in here. I know from some agencies that I've worked with, instead of putting out certification number, they'll put like their score, because I know the scoring is sometimes very important. So instead of that, they'll put like their score, if they got a 95% or they got a 96, or they got, they failed a specific, which they shouldn't, because if they failed it, they shouldn't even add this qualification in here. But it should be a passing score that goes in here. And then when it was issued, so when they passed that exam or that certification, and when that certification expires, and then just click save. Okay. Things that will help you out with this, if you want to document that, you can upload documents in here on the document section. Just drag drop the certificate in here, and it just provides proof that that person has that certificate. Okay. Once you upload this and change this, let's say they've reissued this on the 22nd, it just was never updated in the system, I can put this in here, click save, and now this one should not populate in that report any longer. Other things to note on here is the certification the issue and expiration date also appears on the home dashboard. So as you know, on the home dashboard, there is a widget or a tile called qualifications notice. This will tell you exactly whose qualifications are expiring in the next 7 days, expiring in the next 30 days, and expiring in the last 30 days. As you saw from that report, there really wasn't anything within the last 4 months, but that report, you can put that back as far as you want to for the last year. So you can see who's actually not up to par with their qualifications. And a lot of it could be just because their records just weren't updated. They actually completed their certifications, but they just weren't updated. So in each one of these, you can go in and you can click on these right here. So right here, Penny Matter has a qualification that expired, that is expiring within the next 30 days on September 1st. Okay. So you can download this and export this to a CSV file. You can forward this off to their manager, and their manager can deal with that, update their records, and so on and so forth. Okay. So a couple different options for you to manage those qualifications once you've added them and assigned them to a record. Okay, so, but there is a lot of legwork that just does have to happen on the qualification and training side so that it makes your people's job easier when they're assigned those qualifications. Any questions on that? Questions? All right. Well, everything I covered today is going to be in Salamander University. So you go to SalamanderLive, and it's going to be in the included features, and it's going to be under records management. You should see one, or I'm sorry, account setup, since this is a administrator type functions. So you'll see under here, we've got two different ones on here, managing the qualification and training folders, and then we will have a separate one for qualification verification. We have two separate on here because for those organizations that do not have qualification verification. Okay. And then, of course, we have our documents in here as well, too. If you want to look at the user guide, feel free to do so. It's going to be under Salamander Live V2 User Guide version 9.0. I will post this in YouTube. I don't know when this video will be available for you guys through Salamander University here under webinar recordings, but I will post it in here. I believe I have one already in here. It might be an older version, but if you want to review that, please feel free to do so. I can't remember where it's at. It's in one of these versions here. Okay. But other than that, I just want to thank you guys all so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Yes, absolutely, Tina. Very user-friendly. Feel free to contact us if you have any questions at all while you're working through this. Here is the contact information for myself and also for support. So if you're looking at switching over to the new tier set, here's the phone number. The email is support and then at salamanderlive.com. You can also email it to me and I'll forward it over to our support team as well to get them to change that for you. And then everybody, thank you guys so much for being on the call today. Really appreciate you guys being on here. Hopefully you guys will join me again next month. I will be doing the same training again next week. So if there's other colleagues that missed this that wanted to join in but they couldn't, feel free to have them join in my next class. Okay. Other than that, you guys all have a wonderful day. Take care. Thank you.